Thank you for watching. Yeah, thank you again for joining KJ TV. Without here is Brother Pen Muko and Dr. Umandi. What a week, what a month in the US elections and the river patients around the world. So today we are going to look at the outcome of the United States elections that were held last week on the 5th. And the outcome now is out there, the jury is out, and everybody is kind of making sense of what happened, how it happened, and what next. So today in the studio, as we said, is Dr. Mandi and Brother Pen Muko, who will dissect all those three facets of the outcome of the United States election of the year 2024. Welcome aboard, gentlemen. How you all doing?
Good.
Good.
Yeah.
Pen, tell us what happened after all these.
Everybody, I think, is surprised. Some of them are in the shock. They are not even come back. But as they say, it is what it is. If you keep continue talking the same thing all the time, people come to believe you. I think that's number one. What did happened with the president elect? He kept on talking and said the same thing all through. So people were sure believing it was making sense. Are we making a mistake? So they said no, Trump back. And actually, as we can say, it's a landslide. Every state now is winning.
Yeah, this has never happened for over 132 years, Dr. Mandi. What you make of it since 1884? This never occurred where a person has won a non-conservative presidency twice. Twice. This is the second time in the U.S. history. What happened? How did it
happen? For me, I know there are many people who are looking for answers. What I can say, there is one common denominator. America is not ready for a woman president. The way Trump was voted overwhelmingly, that is quite abnormal. He's not that great leader that he could win by landslide like that. The reason why I say he's a woman, because 2016, he ran against a woman, Hillary Clinton, and won. 2020, he ran with a man, he lost. Now, 2024, he ran with a woman, and he won. So the only common denominator here is a woman. And I think the sentiment, there are implicit theories about Americans, which they don't say. They are not ready for a woman. That is the bottom line when you see the overwhelming. Me, for that is the first reason I see. I sound to be corrected.
Yeah, but since 1988, that's 20, close to 30 some years now, several elections, not one single Republican has ever won the office with popular vote. The last time they won with a popular vote was 1988. For the first time then, Trump has won this not only with the electoral college vote, but also the popular vote. And pitting Kamala Harris with almost 4 million votes. Never happened before in the last 32 years. Pen.
It has never happened, for sure.
Yeah.
So what happened here? Did the Democrats sit home? What happened? Did they switch their parties? Really, if you look at what happened in the last elections, Trump was able to hit 71 million votes. He actually got exactly the same votes. Now, the person who hit below the belt was Kamala, because she came short by almost 10 million votes from what the current president won.
Yeah.
81 million versus what she would perhaps end up with 71 million.
Yeah, there are many things that Trump made in history. It's the first time that we are having a president who has been impeached twice and who has come back again. And after being convicted in court, 33 counts. This is very interesting if you can be able to think about. But I think, on my own opinion, again, we have two wars. We know we have a war in Ukraine, in the Middle East. That is a very worry. In any elections, Daktari, we have never had a president losing when we are in war. Give me one. So when we are at war, the president incumbent all the time, he wins. It's only this time when the incumbent resigned, then they had to make a decision. Remember when the Obama was campaigning? You remember the 3 o'clock time? They called at 3 o'clock. This was another factor, as Dr. Oman said. So Americans, they are not ready for a ready,
Woman president.
especially at war, because they think.
No, but we are not at war. Benny, I want to correct you. America is not at war. Other countries are at war. Friendly countries are at war, but not America.
Indirectly.
So here's a perfect situation. Some pundits are saying that she lost heavily because she came late to the game. Only a few days, only a few months. More was 100 and some days, and then she's a woman, and as such, a black woman. And number two, number three, the presidency of the President Biden has been moving on, and they were not able to articulate what they have done since they took over. Even though the economy is booming, people's feelings about the economy were kind of like not sure, because there is not one single time in the history of the United States when we have had inflation going that high, yet the job creation was booming and the unemployment is way low at almost 2.7%. Yet people were feeling like the economy is not doing very well. Was it the marketing? Was it salesmanship? What was it?
No, I think it is Trump. You know, Trump perfected his message. Mainstream, we were seeing like Trump is weird, is what he's talking does not make sense. But he was energizing his base. And the three things that people don't say, and we have to be blunt and say, he energized the base. You know, there is that feeling. The message he was sending to people is that the white population they are becoming a minority. That's one of the things which many people vote, because see, I want you to. This is the population, the U.S. white population. In that graph, the growth rate has been going down, alarmingly. By this, like 2016, it just became, and while the other population is going up. So when he was talking about they are eating dogs, they are coming to our country, he was really energizing the base which really came out to vote for him.
So he created fear, and fear can drive people to be defensive. And the only way they could be defensive was to go to the polls and vote.
Yeah.
That could be one of the big reasons. And it was a perfect storm for Kamala Harris. She came late into the polls. She wasn't able to create that enthusiasm to get people to the finish.
Dr. Onimo, I would deal with you. Actually, if there is a person who ran a very good campaign, was Kamala Harris. And she really energized the base. But I don't know what happened. You see, he started with a very high momentum. He went to the convention with a high momentum, even if she utilized her campaign days very well. But there is a coded message, I think, which went around. Because why I'm saying so, I want you to look at how the 50s, how they shifted. You know that even where Democrats won, there was a shift towards Republican. Some percentages they have said here, giving particularly even in Minnesota. Minnesota, Kamala Harris won narrowly. So all of the blue states are not actually deep blue; they are light blue, which means even some Democrats voted for Trump, but note that they hated Kamala. There was that fear, that message, which myself I could not understand. I didn't make sense of Trump's message, but they seem to have gotten.
I want to categorically mention 3 things here that was a factor, even if you are saying we are not at war, which we are not, but indirectly it was affecting Americans. The war at Middle East was one factor. You remember when the Democrats were pushed into the war, that the war, we have to make sure that Middle East, the ceasefire, you remember? So they had to be forced to give them a deadline, which was expired actually on 30th. Oh no, 2 days ago. That in 30 days, they have to make sure the war, the peace is in the Middle East. And the Republicans capitalized on it, and said, this war, Trump said, this war was not even supposed to be there anyway. So they made a mistake. If I go there 2 days, I do what? The war is ending in Ukraine. People believed in him. Secondly, there is a factor of, as Omandi said, immigration. They said, oh, these are 11 million immigrants who are here, not supposed to be here. First of all, they are criminals. Secondly, they are causing all these problems are here. So Americans believed in him. The third one is economy. Economy was also another factor. You know what Trump was saying? The economy is getting better because people believe that I'm going to do what? I'm going to win. If I don't win, you will see everything going down. So people believed it. So if Trump is not going to win, then we are going to go under.
Absolutely. And all these factors you're all mentioning, at some point they will become clearer as we move away from the election period, as researchers are digging deep and also scratching their heads, because they did scratch their heads in 2016 when everybody thought that Clinton was going to win a landslide, but she lost. And they came back and said it was because the pollsters were not polling the Trump voters as much. And this time around, they said they had actually tooled their gadgets very well. They had adjusted their polling models very well. And they were really right on it. And they said Kamala Harris is likely to win by a small margin. But again, they got it all wrong because Trump swept all the swing states, all of them. Plus, for example, here in Minnesota, there's a county that has never gone Republican for the last 45 years. It went Republican. So in other words, what happened again? So with the answers will not be apparent, including the answers that you're just giving. But as we move away from the election period, it will become clearer and clearer that, among other things you mentioned there, Dr. Mandi, is Americans are not ready for a woman. Americans who are really believing what he said, even though some people who are not making sense out of those still think that a person who has been convicted twice, convicted once, impeached twice, could not have won an election. So this is history making, by the way.
But then it could be the year of prisoners winning. See even what happened in Kenya. Uhuru Ruto, when they were indicted in The Hague, their communities came behind to save them, and they became presidents. Remember what happened in Brazil? The current president was imprisoned. He came from prison and won the election. Okay, and we have another one in Senegal. The guy who was imprisoned, it is this year. It was May, I think May or March. The guy came from prison 2 weeks, won an election. In fact, probably the Department of Justice might have created a martyr out of Trump, because all of those cases, what he was portraying, they were weaponizing DOJ to indict him. Probably that made the people see that because they are fighting him, let us help him. And remember, as he was going on those cases, he became popular because he was always in the news. You know, I came to realize, so long as you have an exposure, he was getting free exposure in the media. Good, it could have been, we also created this trap.
Now that he has won, he is actually waiting to be sworn in again twice on January 20th. What is in there for Americans? What is in there for the immigrants? What is in there for our community? Pen.
As you said, there are some answers we don't have, but we can only speculate because everybody's waiting for those big expectations from him, which may be there or may not be there. Trump, as a person, doesn't change. He only tactics. He's coming. Trump, number one, he was not from a political class. You remember? He was from outsider. But this time around, he's coming like a politician, a political, who has been fought. People didn't want, actually. They started a machinery that he may be disqualified to run as a president. Now he fought all this, he has come back. Let's wait and see what will happen.
So, Dr. Mandi, now that he has won, what is in there for the immigrants that was the punching bag for his campaign? Left, right, immigrants must be shipped like never before. What is in there for the immigrants?
Trump is a shrewd businessman. He was only a mouthpiece talking of what most Americans will not say. And he may not even mean it, because we saw in the first term, what did he do? He didn't do anything. But number one, let us agree. The way the people are coming from the southern border, something needs to be done, for sure. And if he is going to curb that immigration coming from the border, well, we will applaud him. He wants to make America great. When he's making America great, he will make America great for everybody, even if he's a Democrat or what. So we are expecting that. But the idea of deporting people, you cannot round up people and deport in this country. You can only deport a person if he has been ordered by an immigration judge to be deported. So you are not going to round up. Many American, I want them to have that, don't have that expectation. The immigrant community, if you are illegal here, you will have to face a judge and then get an order. That's when you have to be deported. I know he has chosen the Baltasar who says he's going to round up people. You cannot round up people in this country. The only way he can do mass deportation and stop asylum is to move away from the Geneva Convention. There is a Geneva Convention of asylum. That if you are a member state, if a person comes to your border or is in your country and is seeking asylum because he is fearing of torture, you are supposed to give that person a room where to be. Unless, as he has decided that he is going to move away from the Paris Agreement of climate change, then he should move away from the Geneva Convention. At that time, he will chase people who are coming to the border and not listen to them. So I'm not expecting him to do much because he stands like that.
Pen, we all know that President Trump previously was very unorthodox. He will do things very unpredictable. He pulled away from the Geneva, from the Paris Agreement. He pushed around the net of allies to pay more, and they did pay more. he pushed around everybody and he was carrying everybody around. Don't you think he might as well use the 1844 Immigration Act, which said if you are here and you've been here only for less than 2 years, you don't have to go to the immigration judge to be deported?
Yeah, they can actually, or to be honest with you, it's unpredictable. He can do the same. You remember when he went in, he said there were people coming from everywhere in the country. When they come here, they kill us. We are going to stop these people until we find out what the hell is going on. He did exactly. He used his fight with sign powers. Actually, he stopped it until now. Actually, it's being renewable next year. He can do it. But the only thing I want to remind everybody who's watching and listening to us is, as Dr. Omandi said, there's laws and regulations in this country. And another thing is, you can't be able to round up people and deport them all 11 million. And you want to know yourself, the numbers are like this. During Democrat power, like Obama, he actually deported more people than Republicans. You know that?
Yeah.
That's why he's recruiting the person who worked with Obama that time. He's actually one of the, I was listening to him, he's one of the nominee of his cabinet who worked with Obama to give him the same job to deport. It will be very difficult, but he can do a radical decision.
Do you think, Dr. Mani, do you think that there will be a pause, given that right now the unemployment rate is at the very lowest since companies are looking for people to work, especially in the agriculture sector, construction sector, and they can't find enough people to fill in the open positions? And we all know that immigrants, most recent immigrants, are the people who are doing most of those jobs. Don't you think the economic impact will also stop Trump from doing what we may call mass deportations? What do you think?
Let me tell you, both the Republican and Democrats, there is something they lie about us. They have always been running on immigration. They know very well that they run and they use these illegal immigrants in their companies and making profits. Nobody is ready to fix this problem. They don't want to fix the problem because even in Trump, in these companies, he hires those immigrants in the first place. So the only thing is that let them make it orderly. And actually, the people coming from South America, if they could have followed Obama policies, Obama said it is better to help those countries stabilize from Central America, Latin America. Some of them, they are running from cartels and other things because of poverty. If they could do that, that's what would happen. But here, if they deport 11 million people, there will be no people to work because of labor will go up.
No, it will be a disaster. And nobody will do that, Dr. Mudimu. I was listening to a program. They are saying that DACA, you remember the DACA? We talked about this last time. Yeah. Every 4 years, they use the same thing. They use the same thing for this politics. If they were very serious, they could have fixed DACA and give them papers as citizens. Yeah. They have not even done it. I was listening to this documentation that somebody was talking about. There is one of who benefited from DACA is one of elect in Mexico. So it is a big thing as Trump comes into the office. He has to deal with the DACA. People who came here very young already, they have jobs. What are you going to do with it? We were going to deport them and they have papers which have been renewed. It's impossible to do that. And again, Dr. Before you say something, we have what we call sanctuary states. You can't touch those people from those sanctuary states. Like now, Minnesota is one of them. So, migrants who are here, they should be scared because they are covered. I hear some of the people already in court. So it will be fighting, pull and pulling, but this is a campaigning tactics.
So historically, Dr. Mandi, historically we have seen immigrants, new immigrants, especially those who are documented but have overstayed their visa in the United States, either students or visitors, and they tend to do and perform better when a Republican presidency is in force.
Yeah.
They go back to schools. They do economically even more better because of that being put on an uncomfortable situation. Do you think that will occur again this time around?
I tell you, people work well under pressure. Now people are going even to be more careful. They are going to be careful even not to make mistakes, because when you make a mistake and you are caught by police, you will be deported. So people are going to be disciplined. They will go back to school. They will work hard because knowing that anytime they can be deported. That's a good for actually immigrants. We survive on that. And this idea which you said about immigration, you see the lady she appointed the chief of staff. That lady is that is the Karorov of you know what the Karorov did to George Bush. She made her stay on the message. This is the message, the script he had. That was from the Republican platform. Seal the border and stop the migrant invasion and enforce migration laws. He will do righteous. That is the script. If you see on his speech, all his campaign, those were the things which he was told to stay on course. And he made sure he energized his space so much that following the script. But is he going to do them? Trump is now in office. He simply wants, I think, to enjoy his second term. If I were him, this is the time he needs to relax. He needs to leave a legacy. He has carried a very negative image among many people and the world around. He has been given a chance to make a good legacy for himself as an old man.
but again, Dr. before I comment something small that you will see.
Joshua is also on the studio. Remember it.
Oh,
I'm sorry, guys. I came in late a little bit. Sorry about that.
And on top of what Dr. Mandi said, you will see him also taking these people to court, his opponent, the people who he thinks that they were fighting him. You will see also persecuting them.
Okay.
Yeah. Again, what I can say for me, sorry to interject. Actually, if you look at the way Trump has been elected, I mean, this thing, guys, I think we need to. I mean, it's not going to be business as usual. He has won the electoral vote. He has won the majority. I mean, I think Trump is now more powerful than he was before. And everything that he wants to do, I can guarantee you that he's going to have the blessing of the House, of the Senate, of everything. And that guy, he does what he wants to do. And this time around, I think he has the blessing of everybody. So the enacting of all these things, the migration, I think is going to be very, very, very different than what has been doing. I know people are going to fight back and maybe they go to the courts and everything, but I think eventually they are going to make sure that all the illegals have been deported back. It may not, I mean, I know it's only 4 years. We don't know how it's going to. I've heard some people say that they're going to be voting Republicans all through. So unless the Democrats restructure their party, I'm seeing a scenario where they're not going to be able to get the presidency for I don't know how many years coming. And then that means that Republicans being in office, and I'm sure anybody who's going to take over Trump is probably going to be running with Trump's manifesto, exactly what Trump wanted to do, because that's the only way you can be elected, as a party leader with the Republicans, So whatever Trump has brought forth now in America, it's something, in my view, is there to stay. And I can tell you it's not going to be business as usual, for sure. In my view.
The impact of his winning is being felt not just within the borders of the United States, but also all over the world. The country Kenya today, as we speak, deployed its police in Haiti, for example, and majority of the funding is coming from the United States. The Kenyans in the United States, who are said to be up to 250,000 people, probably between 200 to 300,000 Kenyans in the diaspora here in the United States, half of those are considered undocumented immigrants. What is your advice to those Kenyans in the United States who are not legally here, quote and end of quote?
For me, if I was one of those guys, I could actually start packing, planning on my exit, because it's not going to be business as usual. If they want to track those guys down, they will. I'm sure people are going to, like right now, I realize there's a surge for the immigration lawyers everywhere. Everybody is saying, hey, I can help you. I mean, this thing now, people need these lawyers to help them stop this massive migration. But now, what I think they're not going to be able to beat the system, because the way the system is structured now is to get these guys out. If I was in that scenario, I could be planning on how I should leave, because I don't see them succeeding out here for sure.
What do you advise those Kenyans who have most Kenyans came legally to the United States?
Yeah, Dr. What's happening now is not new, and it's not going to be the last. What I can say is the president will just enjoy the 2 year he will enjoy his presidency. After 2027, if it doesn't look like the Democrat, they will just control the House. That's how all elections happen. Obama enjoyed the presidency for the first 2 years. That's why he managed to do the health care. And actually, he regrets why he could not have done the immigration the first 2 years. And to my thinking, it's because they agree, these politicians, to have a bond they do every 4 years. Joshua, I want to assure you, the thing you are seeing now, it has happened in 1992, it happened in 1988, it happened in 1996, 88, 86. It has been there before. Immigrants have been having problems. What I can tell them, don't fear, don't live in fear. As Ondim said, go back to school, try to be on status, do the right thing. We will survive. We have survived before. Everybody in America is a migrant. It's only they came here earlier 100 years ago. Don't celebrate. You don't know what other people go through to have what they have. So I would ask you who are listening here and having a problem, go back to school, try to be in status, try how much you can. We will survive.
Dr. Mandy,
what
do you advise those Kenyans who have overstayed their visa?
What I can advise them, let them not fear. The laws have not changed. White House might have changed, but the laws of this country, there are laws to be followed. Put your things in order. Always, I can say, I know they will scare you, but always it is good to organize yourself, have a lawyer, at least you have a contact in case you are arrested, you have relatives who can be contacted, because if they are going to be alert, the only thing I can say, but don't fear, because nobody's going to deport you immediately. But I wanted to answer Joshua, who's thinking that from now they are going to vote Republican. This they were not voting Republican, they were voting for Trump. These are the Trumpians. These are the Trump's followers. They have nothing. And I tell you, Trump is a figure who is beyond the Republican Party. You know, he has, even Republicans, some of them fear him. They follow him because if they don't follow him, how many careers has he finished among the Republican Party? When Trump will leave, it is like a popular king who leaves and then does not have a successor. Right now, many good leaders in the Republican Party are gone. I tell you, when Trump leaves, Trump could not have a successor, and it might be the end of the Republican Party. We don't see that. We have seen Obama went in with a super majority. He had 60 in the Senate, only for 2 years, and they lost it.
Yeah.
So when much is given, much is expected. The same people who voted him, if he will not deliver on those things in 2 years, you will see what will happen.
Thank you so very much. Joshua.
Just a quick note here. Daktari, if you look at the demographic of the voting patterns that we saw, you will not really say that people really wanted, that the people who voted were Trumpers. I mean, the people that we did not even expect voted for the first time for him. Look at the Muslim community. Look at the Latinos. The people have always been Republicans. Look at, Trump had the majority for black men. He was actually, even the polls were showing that that Trump was leading in the African American man. So what is happening is this: the policies that Trump was having on the ticket were really resonating with most of the people. So don't say that the people who voted for Trump, you weren't even in Pennsylvania. So these are the people. I think the Republican Party, the Democratic Party needs to restructure. You know, like now, you know, people are like, you know, if I don't have money in the pocket, I've been with the Democrats all this time. There's no need for me. I need change. I need to see something change. You know, the cost of living was hitting everybody across the board. And the policies that Mr. Trump was giving on the table was like, I'm going to drop down the gas, the pump money. You know, I'm going to make sure that the groceries are available and they're cheap.
But do you believe he's going to do it? No, Joshua. He
Politics
said
is
that is
perception.
going. I'm expecting it. January, your electricity bill to be less, 50% less. That's what he said. So that's what people are waiting for. Are you sure he's going to cut the electricity by 50%?
It's possible.
That's
America has
I
the largest amount of oils in the whole world. We have the most amount of petrol in the world.
A very good, excellent debate there.
I want
to remind you that for the first time in the history of the United States, in the last 3-4 years, we have seen America pump oil from the ground more than ever before. We've been having the highest production of oil in the United States more than ever before. And it's coming in at the right time when the inflation has actually stabilized from the crisis we had in the pandemic. And there has been what we call quantitative easing in the market, where the money that was pumped into the market to stabilize the economy is being wiped out and the economy is now stabilizing. He might benefit from that. But gentlemen, I know we've been debating this for the last 40 minutes. In the last 2 minutes, we are going to ask to give a final comments about, hey, what advice again do you give to those who, like you mentioned there, they should work hard, they should stay on course, they should also have a lawyer on the side, and they shouldn't fear, because fear really isn't the best way to go. Remember, the Kenyans, especially the African diaspora in the United States, most of them only overstay their visas. Very few of them come from the southern border. Most of them actually overstay their visas. Is there any recourse for those who have overstayed their visas? Is it the same as if they jumped over the fence from the southern border? What is your comment in the last 2 minutes?
It's for me. Okay. So what I can say is this. Honestly speaking, if you've been in America and you knew very well you are not documented, you should have not settled down. Because one thing I know for sure, as much as you may want to run helter skelter now, these people now, crystal clear, they are very focused now on all these loopholes that have been staying. Yes, I agree that you should not fear. Of course, you should have a defense mechanism whereby you can have maybe a lawyer, or maybe, get your stuff right. Maybe you may want to get married to a citizen, or whatever it takes for you to be in status. But you should be also very much open to the option of, going back home. You should prepare that. It should not be a life and death situation. If things happen the way they are, depending on how long you've overstayed your visa, depending on how your case is, you should be open to both cases. That's what I can say. Otherwise, it's not gonna be an easy road, in my view, to be very honest.
Yeah, Pen, what's your final closing comments?
Yeah, before I say answer your question, I want to correct Joshua. That every time you see these elections, remember, Obama won on a high. When he went back in 2 years, what happened? But the time of Obama, that's when we knew that the Democrat would be running all this for 16 or 30 years. That's when Republican came up with what we call progressive. You remember? Because they were hit under the belt. It's more than they were hit harder than we Democrats were hit this time. But I want to tell you that the politics in America can flip in a minute. What I would advise again to the people who are feeling stressed and fear is that be strong. Be strong. Do what you can do. The groups of Latinos I hear, they have a group of going to court already. There are people, they are putting their people together to protect them. Get a lawyer, go to work, go to school, do what you can to make sure things will change. And we will meet again tomorrow.
Thank you. Dr. Mandy, last final word.
The only thing I can say, the many people who voted for Trump, even those who are immigrant, Muslims, and yet he has appointed Huckabee as the ambassador to Israel, who does not believe that there is no Palestine, according to him. So I saw the Arabs were voting for him, but he's the worst they have voted. He does not recognize them. The Latinos, they are suffering from what we call it the Big Brother syndrome. The Big Brother syndrome comes from the story of the prodigal son. When the prodigal son came back, the Big Brother felt bad. Some of them, those Latinos, came as refugees here. Now they have settled their citizens, but they don't want their brothers who are suffering to come in. That is what that's what the reason they were voting for him. So no matter what, we will survive. I don't want anybody to fear, because if you are caught, you have a right to court, and the due process has to be followed. You can appeal, and you can live here after Trump will leave office while you are fighting your cases in court. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so very much, gentlemen, for joining our program today. We're looking forward to seeing you again next week, Thursday. This time, we will analyze the cabinet that has been chosen, and including Huckabee that you just mentioned there, and even Mattis, who has been selected to be the Attorney General, whether he will actually survive and get through the confirmation process in the Senate. Lots of it coming. Thank you again, gentlemen, for joining today's program.